Thank you for everyone being here today and for joining us today. So I am going to go into our next presenter, Peter Lynch, with Lynchpin Sales and Marketing.
So, I'm a sales coach, and I hate sales. Yes, I hate sales. And the reason why being that I really had a lot of personal experience with a lot of abusive people who were manipulative or sociopathic or narcissistic and abuse influence. And sales and marketing are both influence. And I have a deep passion for sales and marketing. I love sales. To be totally contradictory up here, but I'm here to tell you my story of how I ended up as a sales and marketing coach. Frank was part of this journey, as he told me over a year ago, you're a sales coach, and it hit me, and I'm like, I hate that word. I hate that word. Don't call me that, Frank. That's a dirty word. Because and one of those people was my own father, who was and so I'm not going to go into that story of that background here, but this is, my journey. So it's like, well, yeah, how did I get here where I'm a sales and marketing coach when I hate sales? And I've had these terrible experiences. Some of the sales trainers who don't care about their people that they're selling to, they just care about how they sell and getting that sale. And so it really becomes something that's abusive, that no longer respects the prospect, no longer respects the customer. Right? And so my background, though, when you see my resume, of course I'm a sales and marketing trainer. Look at it. Right? I was an artist. I had art, pottery, and paint featured in galleries and shows. I was at top of my class in all engineering technology classes, a lot of practical psychology training. I have no degree in any of it, and of course septic systems in my work experience, it's worse than whatever you're imagining right now. Past accomplishments, and this all just being part of my journey leading up to this, right? Like I had some phenomenal turnarounds in some companies that were struggling. We had, I was put into a leadership position, trial by fire, which is the story of my life. Sink or swim, buddy. And here we go, turning things around from failing to survive to doing really well. But I didn't believe in myself, so I walked away from those experiences feeling like, and never taking credit. This is one of the first times where I'm publicly taking credit for any of that, which was my own work, because I had such deep self-confidence issues that I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't really believe in my own worth. So when I went and started my own business, my daughter was newly born, and I was just sick of working so much. And I was starting this family, and I'm looking in my daughter's eyes, and I'm going back to work after so short of paternity leave, and I realized I got to do something different. So I started my own business, and I really, but still, struggling with the gnawing, self-doubt, etc. And I really felt, well, all I'm really good for, handyman. So I'm just going to go fix things. That'll be my business because I don't bring anything to the table, is my belief. I'm doing my thing, running out of breath again. As I get. So, but I did end up, through that journey, it was a journey of, I got to figure out sales and marketing. I got to figure out how to get clients. Landed a gig with Louis Vuitton, didn't look back, became really high profit. I wasn't having to work as much, so I was able to spend that time with my family, which is one of my first priorities, to work on my marriage, to work on my relationship with my children. And through that journey, though, I was always seeing, right, so I realized I had a dream to help others succeed. That's always been a major driver for me, and I saw this opportunity in business where there's entrepreneurs that are putting their passion and a dream on the line. So when a business fails, it's not the failure of a business, it's a failure of a dream. And I want to see them succeed in that dream, to realize that dream. But there's something missing. What's always the pattern for me. As an engineer, I'm always looking at that. Sales and marketing. It's a system. It's a system that often operates at massive inefficiencies. Everybody needs customers. So you need marketing and you need sales, but everybody struggles. How do I get more customers? How do I sell with integrity, ethically, and do it in a way where I don't feel like I have to take a shower afterwards? Right? So it comes back to what's missing. So that's my driving, always looking for what's missing, what's missing, what's missing. And what I saw was through this process, through my journey, and I've been a coach now for going on 2 years in a couple different ways, and I'll get to that, but one of the things that I was always seeing working with businesses, working with business owners, is there's these 3 pieces. They're always missing, which is an effective strategy, right? A scalable system, I gotta remind myself of what I wrote, and magnetic messaging. And so that's why I created this. And I'm going to mesmerize you all with my little graphic because I'm very proud of it. But that is it's this process of dialing in the message, the strategy, and the systems which allows a business to amplify their profit, get more clients, more leads, without improving their marketing, without increasing their marketing budget, without spending more on advertising. Because if you spend more on a system that's already inefficient, you're asking for greater inefficiency. The inefficiency compounds. So let's compound the efficiency, right? And part of my journey too, because this is update, so I've been Unshakable, I moved to Linchpin because that more accurately defines what I am now. And then it's like, oops, actually they're both my brands. Because Unshakable is about my mission of breaking the stigma of men's mental health because of my own journeys there. And Linchpin is, though, that's my forward facing. And this is what I'm doing, is helping businesses with exactly this. I'm honored. I don't know why my pictures aren't showing up here. Sorry for that. But I'm really honored to have had some of this feedback from some of the clients that I've worked with. It's been a phenomenal journey. My mission, why I do this, coming back to that, is because I want to change the world one entrepreneur at a time. Because when the entrepreneur succeeds, the community succeeds. When the entrepreneur succeeds, they get to rewrite the story of their family. They get to change their lineage, their legacy, and they uplift the community from within. That's my passion. That's my dream. I want to see the world change through the power of entrepreneurship and the pursuit of the dream. So, with that, thank you.
Modalities do you use? What outreach efforts? What does that look like in your organization?
So just finished up a group program I was running. It was part of my back and forth. I've done several different primary modalities I've advertised myself with. Right now it's really become something on the back burner, but I'm really looking to mostly do that through speaking opportunities to share that story, share my story, and really just put it out there that there's people that might look, I'm one of those people that people say, hey, you're really confident. I'm like, me? Who are you talking to? But always been, very grateful when I hear that. And it's really helped me to see that, like, if I'm one of these people that come across as confident, achieving, etc., I want to show that a person like me has a lot of baggage, but you're capable of moving through that. And for the modalities of the actual coaching, I do a lot of, that would be a long answer to get into, but a lot of just really being able to reprogram your mind. Eliminate the unhealthy beliefs that are creating programming, that are creating habits, that are creating patterns, and to be able to really help them step into the confidence of who they really are, find their authentic identity.
And is it like NLP techniques or?
Yes. I pull from a few different, NLP being one. Yes.
Tell us what NLP is.
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's a very common coaching modality for really just tapping into what's the language that you use about yourself. How do you shift your languaging, which shifts your thought patterns, which shifts your behavior, which shifts the way that you act in the world and what shows up for you.
Well, I'll take the next question then with that great question. Thanks you. So, Peter, I had the privilege of watching steps forward, backwards.
I'm glad that was a privilege.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a privilege, and some in between. It's been a great journey. So, something's happened, and I want you to help us understand where did that shift happen in you? Because what we saw, people have such a difficult time allowing themselves the vulnerability to be who they are, right? And you and I had that conversation initially. What happened that now you can step into that confidence?
Well, you asked me a question that might make me emotional. Thank you.
Be emotional.
It's one of those things. COVID happens shortly after I officially launch, and I'm going to, stake my flag out there. I'm going to be a business coach. I'm finally going to do this thing, get out of my own way to some degree, and put myself out there. COVID happens, and this isn't about COVID. It's really about the response. Like, there's this word emergency. The word emergency, the root is emergence. It's the emergence of what's underneath. Emergency causes the real person to show up, and that was an opportunity for me to see that there's a need here. People are afraid. There's crisis, regardless of whatever anybody's opinion might be of politically, etc. There was a genuine crisis. Part of what happened that helped me just shed at a very intense rate, years of garbage, was that I had to cut off from my family. There was which was, yeah. I mean, just a few months ago, it was over a year ago that there was an event where I had a communication with them that challenged them on some things. And in doing that, what I realized was I was shifting myself. I was breaking the old pattern. I was no longer okay with showing up as the way that I used to be, which was, you're familiar with a kind of like family ecosystem idea, which is everybody holds a place. I was playing a role. I was the little baby brother. I was the loser. I was hearing the first share. It's like, it means a lot to me to hear about changing the family dynamic to help the person that's struggling. I was that kid who left, and I never came back. I wasn't on drug addiction, but I had some other addictions. I never came back because when I did come back, I realized my family's a cult. I had experience in another cult. I come back and I see that my family dynamic is a cult. I have to extricate myself from that. Extricating myself from that and continuing to do so is part of what's just been like, I'm done. I'm done making myself different to show up and be more palatable, to try to make other people comfortable. It's the kind of thing where, like, if you don't like what you see now, you're not going to like working with me. But if you want somebody that brings this level of intensity to your business and to your sales and marketing, well, of course then. I'm a person you should probably talk to. So, I hope that answers.
It shows now, man.
Kenneth?
Now, as this is Colorado Springs, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting your business code. The question is, what makes you stand out?
Partly what makes me stand out is, is specifically my focus is on amplifying, it's getting exponentially more leads and sales without increasing budget. So I have a focus on the sales and marketing, which equals greater profitability. But on top of that, for my clients, with the right clients with a business that has established, that's doing revenue at least minimum of like $5,000 a month, I can guarantee results. Oftentimes, I can guarantee a positive ROI in the first month working together because it's system optimization. Because I have this unique background of arts and engineering. Because of course that makes sense. I'm always an odd bag, but marketing is all of that. In psychology, sales is all of that. It's creative, it's engineering, and it's psychology. So that's my drive. Is I have a unique background that's developed in these skill set that you're not going to find repetitive, easily repeated. And of course, and like I said, I put that guarantee on top. So does that answer? Yes.
So I am so excited to just hear your presentation because coming from where you started as a coach, a gentleman, and then identifying and healing yourself, and then identifying another skill set and how that can impact obviously other businesses, right? So that's already powerful in itself, and I commend you for being up on the stage where you're a salesperson and you're not supposed to give a pitch, right? So you're not supposed to be selling, but I love this, and I love that you're not doing that. But I myself as a salesperson as well, you cringed at saying the word sales, right? So they're like, oh, that's really dirty. And I always say I'm a relationships person, right? Which I think it ultimately is. And so as you're going into these organizations, you've got three different things that you work on here. So you've got your marketing and consulting. So then you have your sales training. We know that there are so many sales avenues out there, and people are conditioned or scripted to sell a certain way, right? And I think that it lacks authenticity, right? So how do you get into an organization that maybe already has that established and deprogram some of these individuals from what they already have, right? How do you get them to change that and show the value of what I know you provide?
I love this. Yeah, fantastic question. So this is part of what my realization in the journey of coaching and doing multiple different modalities is. One of the things too, to come back to that question also, is coaching is sales. Sales is coaching, because sales is the ability to shift. It's the ability to facilitate a new decision if done well. If it's done poorly, manipulation is to try to impose a new decision upon somebody. Right? Sales, we just assign sales in this process of coaching and decision change making, right? To the point of sale where there's a financial transaction. But the reality is everybody is always selling. When somebody has a bad attitude and they tell you the day is crummy, they're trying to sell you on this is a bad day. And here's why. And you better agree with me, or else or else you're gonna make me uncomfortable. I don't want to make me uncomfortable, you know. And it's just psychology at work. Everybody's selling something, and that's where and that's where so the gift from me has been doing these different modalities and having this experience is now, yes, I know how to deprogram the garbage thinking because we can challenge it, call it out for what it is, identify the component parts and what the real repercussions are, what the real effect is, and and that's where also it's just strategic planning kind of piece. What do you really want? What's your vision? What's your goal? What are you actually out to get? Okay, does what you're doing line up with it? What's the actual repercussions of your actions? Right? If you're doing this particular strategy, if you're my favorite is go for no and handle objections. And if you're always focused on handling objections, you're focused on trying to create a conflict with your prospect. Because then you're trying to overcome them by overcoming objections. It's ridiculous because it is a relationship. And so do you want to start that relationship off with a conflict, or do you want to start it off with a facilitation of mutual trust and benefit, right? So it's a very much a coaching opportunity to deprogram and reprogram, which is exactly what sales is. So, question in the back.
Thank you. So as someone who knows you much more at a personal level than a professional level, I can honestly say that whatever you do, you're going to do with integrity, because I know who you are. There's a saying, hurt people, and I say, heal people, heal people. So I feel like working with you would be more than just sales coaching, but more on a deeper level of the intrinsic human, and as you're saying, the modalities of the individual and your aspirations and your goals. So I just wanted to echo that. I don't know if everyone's picked up on that, but knowing you personally, I can trust that your integrity reflects in your business.
Thank you.
I feel the passion. I feel it. I love the energy. I love the authenticness. Just everything about you up there. You're just exuberating what Michael had said. I definitely, like I said, I love the passion, the energy. With beating yourself up so much, or being negative with yourself, or being around that situation all the time, when you found yourself, I don't really have a question, man. I think it's great you found yourself. I think it's great that you're happy. I think it's great you got positive energy up there and you're wanting to help everybody, man. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
I'll
I've got one. I'm digging this 80-20. I'm listening to you, and now mind you all, I've seen him speak elsewhere, right? And that was very powerful, passionate, emotional, all that. But the 80-20 for me is you, your character, your integrity, your honor, all that. And 20 is like, he's a business coach. Baloney. 80% man, I couldn't. Yep.
Thank you.
And I'll just finish this off, but I see that, with what you're doing, you're going into an organization introducing this, but as the organization grows and evolves, there's still more opportunity to pivot and reintroduce the success structure.
Can I speak to that for a minute? This is where the nerd in me comes up very heavily. So the 80-20 principle is infinitely practical. And so why it's in the center is because there's always infinite potential. And this is something, Frank and I have had this conversation, and he's pointed out very well that we don't know our own potential. So few of us live up to our own potential, right? And I feel like I'm still scratching the surface of my own potential as I still deal with so much of my own self-doubt that holds me back, right? But so 80-20 is infinite. The potential is infinite. We don't know what we're capable of. That's why I'm driven to do this, is because, right, when there's these entrepreneurs out there that just desperately want to serve people with what they're good at, and then there's this whole mess of, well, how do you actually help, connect the dot, cross that chasm, right? So 80-20, and so each of these pieces, your message, your strategy, your systems, are infinitely optimizable, because efficiency, right, the greater it's just, the more the efficiency, the more it compounds. So that when you make micro optimizations across multiple steps of any system, what happens on the outside, you might make 1% tweaks across multiple steps. What happens is you can have 3,000% improvement on the end of the thing. And it's boggling, but the mathematics all add up, because it's That's the power of micro-optimizations made in the 80-20, which is about focusing on where are you getting the greatest results, which is always in a 20%. 80-20 is a natural law. I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail right now because I'll go deep down that rabbit hole. So in each piece of this, your strategy, there's 20% that's getting you 80% of your leads, right? 20% of your client base are 80% of your revenue. And then within that, there's another 20% that's 80%. And then there's another 20% that's 80%. And it goes down to 1% to 50%. So it's this powerful, it's just this insane leverage that you can utilize in your business. But to find that, it's one of those things where, I mean, this is my, as a coach and this firm believer, we all need a coach. We all need outside eyes. I can't see this for myself. The cobbler's children have no shoes. I'm the most miserable marketer for myself. Right, because I struggle with how do I word it, blah, 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 blah. But when we have outside help, that's when you can most clearly see where's your greatest opportunity and leverage in on that and achieve exponential results.
Fantastic. We gotta ask the super special question, but
Right now.
Right after you.
Right after Frank.
Oh, right after this question. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, man, what you just went through was incredibly mind-boggling and to an average layman. Okay? So I got a business, I'm coming to you, and we're looking at how are you going to extract value? And that's the challenge that I'm feeling. Extracting value for the common, everyday, normal business person out of all of that stuff that you just said. So how are you going to communicate that where it's going to be valuable?
Yes. Well, it starts with just present myself in the first place, which is to help businesses flip the script of their sales, harness the power of consumer psychology so that prospects are lining up and applying to be their customers. Right, so that's my way of really piquing interest. Okay, well, what is that? Tell me more about that. And when people ask me, tell me more, I'm not going to, don't worry. I understand I'm not going to overwhelm them with all this tech speak because that's part of my work is to actually translate. We've talked about translation because we all go into technical jargon or what because I'm so close to it. Yeah. Of course, I understand it. And I can't wait to talk about it. But then I sound like I'm speaking French or maybe something less elegant probably with me. But nonetheless, right? So it really comes down to there's a couple different answers to that one. Number one is it's about me really being able to have a one-on-one opportunity with somebody and sit down and really look at where are you at now? What are the existing processes, systems? A lot of times people haven't even laid out their map. What is their client acquisition process beginning to end? And what's the follow-up? Because if you don't have follow-up, you're losing 80% of your leads, right? So we're just going to map that out in the first place and really just get clarity. Because I'm a big proponent that I believe sales is clarity. When we can get the clarity on the process, we're going to have clarity on whether it even makes sense for us to work together. Because the next step is going to be, well, here's the opportunity, and here's exactly what I do. And I will not ever tell somebody I do something that I don't do. I will not ever say, let me try to spin this so that I can get more money out of you. No. If I can't help you, I'm going to tell you honestly and directly and do my best to point you in the right direction. But if there's an opportunity to grow, then we're going to look at here's the opportunity, here's the next steps, and then make a decision from there for what's best for the business owner. Because ultimately, my passion is to see them succeed. I can't do that if I'm not committed to their success completely.
Awesome.
Is that
Great.
Yes, great answer. Jeff, you got the super special question. If you wouldn't mind asking that.
Yes. What can we as a Colorado Springs business community do to help you?
One of the biggest challenges, and it's been very self-imposed in a lot of ways, honestly, it's just because I'm this stubborn, hard-headed person who thinks, I'm just going to do it all on my own, right? I can just make it all happen, and I can't. And the biggest lack for me has been a supportive community, a supportive network. And connections in our own local community. I've tried to do, and try to make things happen on my own. I've tried to just play the online game and be somebody, so I don't have to put my face out there with people that I know, because there's funny stories about that of some of the people that I know who are then criticizing me for making a shift in my life. And so it's been a painful process, but at this point I just want to vulnerably put myself out there and say that the biggest thing that I look for is relationship and connection. I want to, and when it comes to what can help with my business, definitely connection with businesses that are doing 10,000 and more a year. That $500,000 mark is fantastic. We can get them some. I'd love to have a connection with them because I don't. I'm not that well networked. But beyond the opportunity of businesses to connect with, it's really just I love building relationships. If any of this seems like it could be beneficial to you to just have a conversation, I do not mean that as a sales pitch at all. I long to build relationships with my fellow entrepreneurs in the Colorado Springs community, from which I've been rather isolated, and that's been my own fault. So forgive me, and that's my ask.